ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Safari Saturday. I know this video is longer than usual, but today I'm going to show you how to make a realistic, do-it-yourself silicone mermaid tail at home. You'll also be able to swim in this. So what I've done first here is I've made this pattern for the actual end of the tail on wrapping paper, and I'm taping it to this plastic. Now this is the kind of plastic that you use to put an office chair on. Now you cut out the pattern like this. This is where your feet are gonna go, so you need to leave that part in there, and the rest of it's just about that size. So as you can see, you can use these tin clippers to cut the pattern out and dead, but you want to save all of the leftover plastic to make accessories for the tail or to make future tails. Now as you can see, we have the tail base. Now what we're going to do is we're going to round out the edges and we're going to sand it down. So what you're going to do is you're going to get a polyester stretch blend fabric, and you're going to probably want about 6 feet of that. Now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sewing this together. So we start with the fabric folded a little bit, so that way it will fit around so it will like come in at my waist, and then we extend it bigger around the hips, and then we pull it back in at around the calf knee type area, and that will make it so it's form-fitting, and so we can start to caulk it. Now we've got the tail finished, completely sewed. So now what you're going to do is you're going to attach this to this little piece with duct tape. What you're going to do first is you're going to completely cover your feet up to about 6 inches above your ankles with plastic wrap. This onto this thing in the space that you reserve for your feet, kind of spread out so that way it can be a good monofin, and then we're just going to put the duct tape over this entire thing and up around the back, I guess. Yeah, we're not really certain about this. Put the duct tape like this and then put more, so this is the underside of it, and then we're going to put the duct tape over it.
That's going to be tedious, Abigail.
It's worth it.
No, don't talk.
After you do the first layer like this, then you can just continue reinforcing it. Use as much duct tape as you can. The more duct tape you use, the stronger it's going to be.
Oh, shoot.
So we're just slowly going up the feet, and then once we have this kind of base done here, we're going to start attaching it to this thing, and then on both sides, and then after that we can get the feet out and we can really finish taping it up like crazy.
Yeah, maybe we didn't even need to lift your feet just for a second. I mean, let's put this one on.
So next you're going to have to flip over, as you can see, to try and keep going. Because we have to tape it up the calves a little way so that way it stays steady, because you're going to be kicking with your feet, obviously.
And then you're going to turn over and do this, and this is just structural. This is structural.
Dad's dad was a German engineer, so he knows this stuff.
Except that I was a journalism major and nothing to do with engineering. Okay, I think.
So I'm going to flip over so we can get the other side of it. So you're going to want to make sure when you're doing it that you can get out of it okay. Because that can be catastrophic if you are stuck in this thing. You can't blame me for that. Just don't do that. What you're going to want to do is you're going to stuff the entire sheath and tail part with bags. Make sure that you get them into here, so that way the duct tape doesn't flatten out and stick to you. You want the tail to maintain its shape while we're caulking it, and also we're going to just need to do a little bit more tape on top of this to make sure that it's soft, or to smooth, yeah, but we're going to end up caulking the entire thing, so none of the duct tape's going to actually be exposed to the water.
Ready, shoot. Ready.
So don't be shy with the duct tape. We want to make sure that it's going to hold this all together. Also though, on the back here we need to have a little bit of a joint, so kind of leave that flexible right there. Yeah. What we're doing is we're stuffing this entire thing with paper, bags, newspapers, etc. You want to make sure that it's kind of shaped the right way, and because you have to make sure that the fabric is stretching, so that way the caulk won't rip when you actually put the tail on. That's all it is. It's just like B-roll. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get this caulk right here, and we are going to start caulking this thing now that it's all stuffed. I don't really know where we want to start, so I guess we'll just start here and do some caulk. We'll just start with a layer here over the duct tape, and then we'll actually start shaping it into scales. So this part right here, we're not doing the scales yet. This part, we're just smoothing it. Now, you don't need to do this layer on this part of the tail. You just do it on this so we can smooth out the duct tape, make sure that we have like an even surface to work on when we start the scales. So now we're ready to start caulking. and just because we've gotten both sides, these sides smoothed down and make sure that this is good. So now how we do the scales. Now I started doing the scales on the top first because I wanted to get the hang of it before I did it on the tail. Basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna caulk in a U-shaped pattern, and then just smush your thumb up into the scale, and then once you've done a whole row, you're gonna go back over with water on your thumb and do them one more time to make sure they look smooth and nice. I'll give you a demo. In this kind of formation, like an N shape, and you're just gonna keep doing it like cursive M's all around, and then what you're gonna do is you're just gonna get your thumb wet, and you're gonna pull down, and that'll make the scale. And anytime your hand gets too covered with caulk, just wet it again, pull down, make the scale. Pull down, make the scale. Pull down, make the scale. And this is gonna take forever, but you're gonna do this over the entire mermaid tail. There's gonna be some gaps in the caulk, like between the scales and stuff, and you'll have to come back later on and fix those to make sure that it stays waterproof. Pro tip, singing The Greatest Showman is a great way to make this go by fast. Scales, just really give it that nice texture, and you're going to do that by getting your thumb all wet because this stuff responds really well to water. So like here I'm just kind of smoothing them, making them look a little bit more like scales, pulling it down a bit. So we have finished caulking the first side. As you can see, it looks really good. Actually, I'm pretty proud of how it turned out. So just with the caulk, you're gonna end up getting it all over your hand. So make sure that you just wash them really well. And if your skin starts to get irritated, put on some gloves. The caulk gun is kind of hard to figure out how to use it first, but once it is, it makes it a lot easier and a lot faster. And for this tail piece, I just kind of went down like in a triangle to right here, and then these I'm gonna do like veins on later on and make it look more like a tail. So the caulking is taking forever, and it's going to take you forever as well. Basically, you just do it side by side. So we've done this side, and then you're going to have to kind of prop it up on something so that way you can do the two sides. Now we're going to skip ahead to painting. So for the top, I just got a regular sports bra at Walmart, and we are just going to caulk it to make the whole thing look like scales. What I've done is I've just stretched it over this thing, and now I'm going to caulk it. So we have now gotten to the point where we've finished caulking the tail, so we're going to pull all of this stuff out of it and try it on to make sure that it fits. So you're going to want to be sure to keep all of this stuff handy that you put into the tail because we're going to restuff it after we try it on. We're just going to make sure that it fits before we go through painting it. Henry? What we're going to do is we're going to pull it on, just like we did earlier. And remember to get your feet in there. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. All right, and then you're going to pull it up. Try and get it up to your waist where the cinch part is. Whew. Get your feet down in there. Oh, it's going to be a little bit of a tight fit, but oh, we've got it on.
Flip the feet.
It's on. So your next challenge is going to be getting out of the thing, which I think should be easy. You got to be careful that you don't do this part too tight because we did a little bit and it feels kind of like a straitjacket. But of course, this is just like a rough estimate. You guys will be able to learn from our mistakes and do it a little bit better. So what you're gonna do is you're just gonna wiggle out of it, I guess. So now that the caulking is done, you're ready to spray paint it. Now we're doing ours kind of like a blue and gold theme, kind of. You guys can do whatever colors you want. But basically it's better to draw it out first, and you're gonna have to do this in layers just like you did the caulk. So this is layer 1 where we start with a layer of aqua and gold. The next layer we're gonna put on dark blue near the edges, and then spray in the middle there. And then the last layer, we're just going to put patches of this dark green color to kind of get it. And I mean, we were worried that the spray paint wouldn't stick to the caulk, but it seems to be working just fine. So that's awesome, as you can see. And then I think we're going to have to do the two sides separately as well.
Yeah.
So after a day of painting, it is finished, you guys. I'm so excited to see this. Yeah, so this is how it looks so far. And we're just going to wait for the paint to finish drying, and then we can use it. So I'm actually really proud of how this turned out. Make sure to make the colors a little bit irregular and mottled, sort of. So we've taken the paper out of the shell and we've tried it on. And yeah, so this is how it looks with all the paper gone. Here we go, we're ready to go in the pool. I'm gonna put this thing on and we're gonna jump in, get in the water. What you're gonna do is you're gonna kind of flop towards the pool. Be sure to have people on hand to rescue you in case this goes down.
practice being a fish. Get the
It
tail.
worked!
Get the tail flapping.
It worked!
It works? Really?
Yeah.
Like, Abigail, go under and then flap the tail so we can get for an insert shot of the tail going splash.
Hold on, I gotta flip over somehow.
Well, don't get me. Oh, it works.
Huh.
Okay, will you stop videoing and do a new... Okay guys, so you're just gonna like dolphin kick, and you can totally swim with this thing. You can do it front and back, this is amazing. Watch.
It's coming off it.
Alright, thank you for watching Safari Studios. I hope that this design works for you. Join us next week when we explore something else.